The Council on American Islamic Relations of New York submits this testimony as part of our expression of deep concern over the anti-Muslim witnesses participating in this hearing, and I respectfully ask that my entire statement be entered into the record of this hearing. The CAIR believes and agrees that political correctness has no place in discussions of security. We also believe that facts and not fear-mongering or false allegations are the foundation of a sober and
You might identify yourself for some members of the press have asked.
My name is CyrusMcGoldrick, the Civil Rights Manager at the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Senator Griffo asked if you wouldn't mind just summarizing, that will be entered into the record completely, so you don't have to read, you can summarize it if you don't mind. It's not a pop quiz.
All right, sure, no problem. So CAIR believes that political correctness really has no place in discussions of security. But we also believe that facts and not fear-mongering or false allegations are the foundation of a sober and objective review of public protection. Finally, we believe that founding principles such as liberty and pluralism need not be escorted to the back of our national bus as we achieve our goal of defeating violent extremism. As Senator Parker and others have already noted, Ms. Nani Darwish has a troubling record of anti-Muslim statements. This is not to question her experience, but she has asserted that Islam is not a true religion. And her group, Former Muslims United, once put up a billboard stating, "Stop the Murfreesboro Mosque," in an attempt to block the construction of a mosque in Tennessee. A congressman who was here earlier, who is famous for a grudge against CAIR, is very well known for his 2007 pronouncement that we have too many mosques in this country. And Mr. Gaffney, who I believe is supposed to follow us, is indulged in fantastical conspiracy theories, such as that not only President Obama embraces the agenda of the Muslim Brotherhood, but so does CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. And Gaffney, president of the Washington-based Center for Security Policy, employs David Yeroshami, who is the author of the template to promote anti-Islam bills in a growing number of state legislatures, who the ADL has reported he has a record of anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, and anti-black bigotry. So witnesses with such indisputable anti-Muslim track records will cause reasonable people to question the purpose and usefulness of today's proceeding, and I find that regrettable, because the topic of public protection deserves sober discussion and not fear-mongering.
If I could just say to one point, because there are those who would suggest that CAIR itself has linkings that are less than desirable.
Absolutely,
Okay?
we can adjust
Let's
that
just
too.
honestly say it. So following that process, that fall process that you just laid out, I would not have allowed you to come and speak. So instead of going after ad hominem attacks, I would like you to focus on testimony that relates to Homeland Security.
Absolutely. There's no denying that people of violent intent covered the opportunity to recruit Americans to their mindset and pull them away from the straight path in order to seduce them into opting for violent extremism. CAIR and other similar community groups are a natural enemy of violent extremists. CAIR represents its constituents, clients, and supporters through exclusively peaceful and democratic means. There's also no denying that, excepting a tiny minority, violent extremists have not found fertile ground in America. Many individuals and institutions, including law enforcement, Homeland Security personnel, and the leaders and members of the American Muslim community, deserve a share of the credit for this. My full testimony details how CAIR's work undermines the narratives of violent extremists through civic engagement and protecting civil liberties. I also want to mention that the announcement for this hearing notes a focus on Sharia law. The Constitution is the law of this land, and CAIR likes it that way. Our organization expends enormous legal and advocacy energy defending its principles, and among those principles adopted into the Constitution in 1791 as part of the First Amendment is the free exercise of religion. The term Sharia is undoubtedly misunderstood in our nation. American Muslim scholar Suhaib Webb defines the term as the Islamic system of law and the totality of the Islamic way of life based on the Quran and the Sunnah. The Quran is Islam's revealed text. The Sunnah comprises the traditions and practices of the Prophet Muhammad. Sharia is nothing more than the religious traditions that all Muslims use to guide the practice of their faith. It informs how we pray, when we pray, how and how much we give to charity, and how we choose to be buried. Anti-Sharia bills are being considered in a number of state legislatures, and these anti-Sharia measures can easily infringe on free exercise. Indeed, these bills, which proclaim a possible shift from run-of-the-mill discrimination to government-sanctioned discrimination against a religious minority, are one of the four major issues impacting the civil liberties of American Muslims today. The other three, in no specific order, are 1. Attacks, vandalism, and attempts to impede the expansion of places of worship. 2. Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, and other violent extremists. And 3. The use of Muslim bashers as law enforcement trainers. Senator Ball, members of the Standing Committee, I really do appreciate the opportunity to contribute to this testimony, to this hearing. I look forward to answering your questions, and I hope that my presence here lets you know that CAIR and CAIR New York are willing partners in the fight for Homeland Security.
And I want to thank you both for coming. Are there any questions?
No, I just want to thank Linda for being here. Thank you for your point of view. Thank you for what you've been able to see, what's going on in the communities, the good work that we're doing. Please continue to do that. Thank you also, Cyrus, for being here. Thank you.
Senator?
I just want to say that we are also here as a commitment from our entire community, where we do represent a majority of Muslim New Yorkers and in the state of New York, that we're here, and reach out to us. If you need something, we are here to support your committee. If you need to do town hall meetings, if you want to talk to people, we are here, and we're here to extend our hand to you. And we don't need people outside of New York to help us solve our security issues in New York State. Thank you.
I want to thank you very much. There are a few people, including the Israeli Defense Force, that have a lot of knowledge, and I personally think that law enforcement could benefit from here in New York. So that's a brushstroke. I will tell you this committee's commitment. We are committed 110% every step of the way. I will include you in future hearings and in future discussions, and I thank you for your input today. And let's focus on the dialogue instead of the debate. Senator Adams.
Yeah, first I want to thank Senator Goldrick for extending an invitation to you. As I stated, a number of my colleagues who are from the Muslim faith, they wear blue uniforms and they serve the city and the state well. And my question to you is, how do we do more in our schools and to better foster a better relationship? Because the best deterrent of ones who are being recruited to do something harmful to our country is to let them see the benefits of intercultural, intergenerational, and understanding of one's religion. What would you suggest? And I would like to be a partner with you in doing so, but what would you suggest we do in our school system to help foster a better relationship and understanding of both the various religions in our country?
Well, first I'd like to say that right now when you look into the school textbooks, there's like a paragraph on Islam. And I think right now in the current political situation and the wars that we're in right now, I think it is about time for us to do more education in our school system with our staff and with our students. I also think that the Respect for All campaign and the Department of Education needs to be enforced. There is no tolerance for student-on-student discrimination, staff on student, student on staff. I think that that's something that we need to work on with the Department of Education. Obviously now there's a transition in chancellor, so I would love to partner with your office to think about how we as a community can incorporate and work with the Department of Education to provide cultural sensitivity trainings as well as input on curriculum and books that potentially could be helpful to students to learn about Islam and about Muslims in New York.
Okay, I want to thank you both very much.